Men Going Their Own Way, Australia. Shelter and decreasing your costs by 66%. We all need a place to live, a place to feel comfortable in. But today, especially in a place like Sydney, Australia, the cost of living is very expensive. To rent an average 3-bedroom house would cost anywhere between $400 to $600 per week. For me, the setup was purely coincidental, as I did live in this house with my ex, but when she had left, I ended up with 2 spare bedrooms. I ended up advertising these spare bedrooms on Gumtree Australia and renting out each bedroom for $150. Now that's an extra $300 per week in my pocket, leaving me having to pay the remaining $150 for rent out of the $450. So I pretty much pay 33% of what is owed from me on the lease agreement. There are other expenses that can be covered, such as electricity, gas and water bills, where one can easily split the bills 3 ways and end up paying 33% of what is outstanding. It is easy to find a place to stay via shared accommodation, but most places that are half decent would charge a lot more than $150. To be precise, they would charge around $180 to $200 for a room via shared accommodation. There are other cons that strike a man if he went pursuing this route in a blind gynocratic way, and one con being having to pay your rent to a female. I have a relative who pays rent to a female and lives a couple of suburbs away from where I live. Initially, a couple of months ago, when he first moved in, he said to me that it was an awesome place and he was paying $200 a week, and that the female that he paid his rent to was cool and stuff. He called me a few days ago, on Saturday to be specific, explaining to me that she's a control freak. She comes around every second day to the house to check up on things and has become a mean, two-faced bitch. One of the biggest problems that he faced is the fact that she would always take the word of the other person that was renting out the other bedroom, who, you guessed it, is a female. The best way to get into a shared accommodation type of situation is to actually rent the whole place out yourself. The outlay may be a little bit more costly, but you will save a hell of a lot in the long run, not only on money, but even on headaches. For example, there's a 3-bedroom duplex house that is being offered for $450 per week. These days, real estate agents want 4 weeks rent in advance. Now, that's $1,800 up front. As soon as you get the house, you can advertise shared accommodation right away on Gumtree Australia. There will be heaps of benefits. The first benefit is the fact that once you have 2 other people living in this property via shared accommodation, the house will cost you a lot less than if you were renting on your own, and also if you were to share off somebody else. In this instance, once 2 people are paying you per week, you are left having to pay $150 out of your pocket, whereas somewhere else it would have cost you around $200 out of pocket. Another benefit is the fact that you get to choose who can stay in this house. When people call or message you for this property, you will quite easily be able to screen these people for who and what it is that you want. Females don't get to stay in this property. It's as simple as that. You don't want any headaches, dramas, or problems, and if you're switched on, you know that it's a males only zone. Real estate agents always have a preference for tenants that have no children, so fear not if you think that you have a hard chance of getting that property that you're after. On the contrary, the chances for you getting the keys to that property are going to be greater than anybody else's that's trying to rent that property. You don't have to live with anybody's whining, whinging, nagging, abusive and manipulative behavior. Yes, if you were to get a place that is advertised on Gumtree or another platform for shared accommodation, then that place is going to come with furniture already provided, but you will have to be paying way more than the cost of furniture by the end of only 1 year. There are alternative ways that one can purchase furniture. You can get furniture brand new, or you can get used furniture. Either way, it's up to you. But at the end of the day, you will be spending a few $1,000s on furniture that you will end up having back in your pocket from the huge savings that you will make. After you have your own place with your own furniture in it, it will cost you $150 per week to live in. Now, if you were renting your place from somebody else, that exact same place will cost you around $200 per week to live in. That's a $50 saving per week, which is a saving of $2,600 per year. If you have a male friend that is keen on going halvies with you on this concept, well, all the better. It means that you will reduce the costs of your initial outlay for that deposit and the furniture, and you already have a mate that you get along with that will be living with you under the same roof. If you have two mates that are willing to get involved in this concept, then you guys are laughing. Put it this way, you can comfortably live in a place that would cost you around $24,000 a year at the cost of only $7,800 per year. If you live in southwestern Sydney and you ever need a place to store your stuff, you can rent a container at a business called Pettamont's. I found that they are really cheap as compared to Kennards and other businesses. For the same amount of space that you would get at Pettamont's for $200 a month, which is pretty much a 20-foot container, it would cost you around $800 per month at other businesses to rent out. Their contact information will be provided as a link in the description box. It's good to have a place to store your stuff for a cheap price and for multiple reasons. This way, you could have all your stuff ready before you move into your new place and make the most of your first week's rent, rather than moving in and getting all your furniture after that. And if you ever have to move, you know where you can leave your stuff for a cheap price. With Pettamont's, the only thing that you need to get is a padlock. You'd have to purchase, it'll cost you around $10. If anybody has any recommendations on this type of lifestyle, or even other lifestyles for that matter, please leave your comments for other men to read.